Hello everyone, welcome back to ZeroSpace Security and Speakeasy audiobook series. Today we are on a part 7, the good, the bad and the ugly. And honestly, this part felt different while reading it because it is not only about communication, it's about understanding people, understanding ourselves and learning why some interaction give energy while some completely drain it. We will talk about confidence, empathy, perception, personality type, social circle, and the hidden psychology behind human behavior. So, wherever you are listening from, late night, during work, while traveling, or just relaxing, sit back, slow down for a bit, and let's continue the journey. This is Akash, and you are listening to Speakeasy Audiobook. Essence of a human. There are two different types of philosophies out there in regarding people. Humans are inherently sinful and they need guidance out of it. Humans are naturally good, however, their ignorance blinds them from the truth. In either of these situations, there is an inherent similarity. The similarity is that people can either have the good sides or the dark sides. I'm not here to turn this into a philosophical discussion, just to know that the more you deal with people, the more you will become a philosopher in your own lens. Spotting the essence of humans allow you to ask questions and challenge your paradigms like never before. Other than becoming a philosopher, you also learn to become more patient, peopleful, or hopeful. Anger is thing. Confusing anger as assertive is another thing. The emotion is peculiar because it is capable of wearing so many different hats. There are leaders who say that the role of anger has no role in modern leadership. If a person of a power is getting angry, then it's always their fault and not the people who they manage. While on the opposite side of the coin, another group delivers the anger is a great thing. It just needs to be used in a very targeted situation. My formula is anger plus short breaths. It's a temper tantrum. Anger plus long breaths. It's for creativity. Who knows? Maybe as I have been writing this book, I wrote a few chapters angry, just decided to slow my breaths down. The reason anger can be good is because it's just energy at the end of the day. By controlling the energy, we can control our perception. With people, sometimes they will be assets, other times they will be liabilities. Before labeling them as a good or a bad, label them as a data first. By viewing people as a data, both parties win. We can evaluate them for who they truly are. Also, we don't personalize too much if they were doing us wrong. There are people who spend weeks contemplating on why someone disagree with them in a public. For what? Do you have anything else to fill your mind with? Bottom line is that plenty of different worldviews exist. If you want to be audacious around people, embrace the difference rather than crossing your fingers for the similarities. It was never personal. If the good opinions get to your head, then the mean opinions will get to your heart. Just like listening is a skill set, so learning how to not take things personally, it's rarely that serious. During 11th grade, I had a summer job at a Subway. This was a Subway that is in the food court. All the other restaurants in the court would compete for the customers' attention. This Subway was competing against McDonald's, a flippy chick stick spot, Taco Bell, and much more. My manager's name was Ashish, and his life was Subway. He wanted those customers. He also expected all his employees to treat the customers like they were king and queens, no matter how rude they are. Luckily for me, most of these customers were nice. 60-year-old me got along with most of them. All besides one guy, the tuna man. There was a guy in his 60s who would routinely come and order the same thing: white bread, tuna, sushi, cheese, latic, tomatoes, salt, and the pepper. Day in and day out, some order. The problem with this guy was that he was extremely rude, going out of his way to put down the workers, calling them slow, sighing at them, rolling his eyes, etc. After a few weeks of him coming, I had a brilliant idea. If I showed him that I memorized his order, I would probably view that to be considerate and maybe he would be nicer to me. Only one way to find out. The next day, he came to the shop and was about to order. Right before he could say anything, I blurt out, tuna sub on a white bread, Swiss cheese, latex, tomatoes, salt, and pepper. Am I right? He looked at me for a few seconds, getting his words ready. I waited in suspense. Then he says, "Why would you assume my order? Don't you have anything better to do than watch my ever move? That's very rude of you." He begins yelling at me with my manager standing right next to me, a very embracing position for me to be in. I was lived at this man, wanted to yell back, but due to my job position, I could not. Next day, I was scheduled for the second shift. I walk into the front area where the sandwiches were being made and see two of my coworkers, Ashok and Dima, getting chewed out by the same man. Tuna Man was getting mad at other people's as well. That day I came to realize it was never personal. This was just the nature of the guy's personality. Years of experiences, memories, and momentum shaped his personality to what it was. We take it personally when we think the act is only being done to us. We don't take it personally when we know the act is being done to others. Dealing with people requires understanding how people work. Every human has a thing called perception map. The perception map is their viewpoint of the world. View it as the thumbprint of their mind. Each perception map is unique. This map is created from experience, memories, culture, and much more. From there, the perception map influences how this person will view the world. This is why someone's past influences their present. It's because of how they view that experience. I can give the neatest, most amazing engineering notes to a nursing student, and the nursing student will find the notes to be useless. It's because the nursing student perception map has an experience geared for nursing, not engineering. It's never personal when we factor in in person perceptions map ahead of the perceived injustice done to us. Humans judge themselves by their intentions. Humans judge others by their behaviors. Know that as you are dealing with people. It's a game of knowing that each map a person is operating with a different. The more that you factor in this difference, the bolder that you will become. 10 people may have been rude to you, but that doesn't mean the 11th person will be. With this perspective, you don't allow past interaction to influence the next one. Most importantly, you learn to talk to individuals as individuals rather than generalized group. Confidence irony. In order to speak easy, it comes to spotting the confidence irony out there. We undermine our confidence. We overvalue other people's confidence. Want to know something? Most people are not that confident. They are very unsure, have worries, and maybe feeling more tired than normal. However, the confidence irony will place them as a being ahead of us. Want to know another thing? Even if you consider yourself a dog, there may be a handful of people who wonder how you got so much swag. To be articulate, assertive, and audacious, it's a game of using empathy in strategic manner. There is a big difference between unintelligent empathy and the intelligent type. Hard to distinguish at the glance. Unintelligent empathy is the type of compassion where a person keeps going back to a person who did them wrong. The person who goes back to the backstabber thinks they are doing the right thing, while they are simply enabling bad behaviors. That's nothing to be proud of. Smart empathy is when you want to help someone in their life, and in return, you would not mind asking for a favor back down the line. The mere option of you asking for a favor back down the line shows that you are working with person who is capable of being a good hearted person. Trying to fix everyone will not allow you to speak easy. As a nobles as the desire may be, it will bring unwarranted noise and will stray you from your purpose. Here is the irony. By assuming others are not as confident as we initially thought, there is a warner empathic vibes to us. It's impossible to feel fear around someone that you have empathy for. Read the above line again. A pushover is operating with fear. A large part of their narrative is, what if the person doesn't like me? This mediocre narrative leads to awkward mannerism, overcompensation, and filtered personality. If the pushover came to understand that the person they are putting on a pedestal is going through their own problem as well, then there is a level of empathy that's unlocked. Rather than fear, understanding takes its place. With understanding, social intelligence is a byproduct. I have used the phrase empathy a few times. It's probably smart if I give my formal definition for it. Empathy is putting our thoughts and feelings aside to understand the thoughts and feelings of someone else. To exercise your empathy skills, I want you to find someone that you vehemently disagree with. It can be a talking ahead on a TV, a former friend who criticizes you without notice, or a certain talking point with a loud one. Then explain their point for them. Explain why the point you disagree with is actually a very smart, well thought out point. The ego is like, heck no, I disagree with these individuals. But remember, the definition you need to understand does not equate to agreeing. A strong empathy muscle makes fair lessons a byproduct. It's impossible to be scared when you are not trying to hold on to all the power. Power needs to be given away in order to gain it. You are powerful, just move out for your own way already. But be an ambivalent. There are so many tests out there. One of the more popular ones are the personality test, where we get to see what our character traits are. Myers-Briggs is one of the more popular personality tests out there. Are you an I or a E? My former coworker asked. This was in 2015, and I was in Jersey City for 60 days in a training program. The point of training program was to teach the new employees about company protocol, culture, and update them on their new roles. On this day, I was in a class that was doing our personality test. We were going to understand psychology and the dynamic of human behavior. I looked back at my coworker and said that I was given an E, which meant extrovert. Something about this letter did not seem right with me. Sure, I was extroverted at times. However, I was introverted at times as well. Why wasn't there a middle ground territory? My coworker, my coworker looked back at me with disappointment and said, "Oh, I'm an I." It seems like he was upset and I wasn't the same letter as him. It's as though in a moment he only saw me as an extrovert with no trace of an introvert within. So silly. No E or I, let's go with A. Not extrovert or introvert, it's the rise of the ambivalent. A great social superstar is capable of being ambivalent at a core level. When you think about it, you are rarely the same person in the morning as you are in the afternoon. If your personality shifts throughout the day, what makes you think your personality cannot shift interaction by interaction or decades by decade? Let's be clear about phrase known as authenticity. This phrase can leave some people scratching their heads. Is authenticity when you act the same way with everyone? Or is authenticity when you act different with different people? A little bit of both. The definition of authenticity is when you keep the same message and alter the delivery. We do this all the time. No shame in the game. If I ask you to explain your job position to a 30-year-old versus 3-year-old, you will definitely notice a change in delivery. Hopefully, the message doesn't change. If you told 30 years old that you are a doctor while you told 3-year-old that you are an engineer, then there is a confusion. First of all, avoid that. Same message, altered delivery. That's an ambivert. I knew a guy a few years back who identified as an introvert. Let's call him a Jacob. Jacob, myself, and this other kid were supposed to be the three best men for our friend's wedding. Yes, Bengali wedding can have a multiple best men. I was incredibly surprised by the active role Jacob took in the planning process. He was the one who planned out the bachelor's party to Las Vegas, booked the hotel, and even set up the limo for the wedding day. If you meet him for the first time, you would think that he was extrovert, not introvert. After all of this work, he simply needed to put the cherry on the top of actual wedding day. However, something strange happened. On the actual wedding day, Jacob gave his speech, hung out for a few more minutes, and tried leaving. The wedding was just getting started. There was another 3 hours left. When he said that he is trying to leave, I asked him, "Why so early?" That's when he said, "I have been out of my comfort zone for some of the time now. Bro, bachelor party, pre-wedding plans, even getting on the phone with the limo. I'm an introvert person, man. I need some of the time to recharge." Then he gets up and dips, leaving the other grossman and bridesmaid dumbfounded. We still had a performance to take care of. This guy identified too much with label of being introvert. I have also seen the opposite. You dude, I definitely can't meditate because I'm too extrovert. Need to be around people. You don't need to be anything. Be ambivalent is an introvert when they need to be, an extrovert when they need to be. By identifying with the correct label, it's easier to talk to a different people in unique fashions and alter our strategies at while when we are in an interaction. So it's not E or I, it's a A. Be dynamic. As Bruce Lee said, be water, my friend. Do more with less. Can you tell the difference between a friend and an acquaintance, or do you view them as the same? If you view them as the same, then you may be giving yourself social anxiety for no reason. Here are some standard I have for separating the two. A friend is someone who we went through ups and downs with. An acquaintance predominantly sees our formal side. A friend sees our informal side. Talk to them like an adult to build an acquaintance. Talk to them like a child to build a friend. Have a few friends. Have a plenty of acquaintances. Lonely people are lonely because they probably can't tell the difference between an acquaintance and friend. This causes them to undermine who sticks by their side and over amplify those who are not in a constant connection with them. An acquaintance is not someone that you are required to have constant connection with. So many people get upset when you refer to them as an acquaintance, especially if they have known for a while. I jump for joy. This is a good for me because I'm private guy. I let few people into my world. When someone calls me an acquaintance, I can tell I have allowed them in a vicinity of my world, but not fully in ironically. Both parties win. I said earlier that it's intelligent to have a plenty of acquaintances. Why? Because each acquaintances is a different. This relationship is born from a win-win relationship. You should provide value to those persons' life, and the person should be providing values to your life. Otherwise, the acquaintance benchmark is not met. A lot of connection that we will need to meet our grand vision will require acquaintances. These peoples have connects way beyond our immediate friend circle. Someone who they know, maybe someone who never heard of. On the other hand, for our friends, we probably know a lot of the same people, not all the time. This is just general statement. 3 or 5 friends are a plenty. Mainly because in-depth connections can be formed. Picture are a great friend that you have. I'm sure you went through the good and the bad together. That's what allow the bond to be a strengthened. The humans has just so much energy throughout the day. Trying to go through the bad, good with everyone out there is a time waster. Having a central base of a friends with variety of acquaintances builds an irony house social network. This is what creates a large part of your power. When one side is lacking, tension rises. If you have 3 or 5 solid friends and little to no acquaintances, then you are like one of those clipped up people. You ever been to a party and see a group of people talking with each other the whole time, not leaving that group at all to introduce themselves to the others, or at least opening the group to allow others in? That's a clique. A clique is not bad, but if that's the only part of your social circle, it's definitely not good. On the other hand, if you have a 50 plus acquaintances and no friends, then a level of emptiness is created in the heart. This is when you find it's difficult to find anyone to discuss personal topics with. An acquaintance is not trying to console your thought through every little hardship, they have other things to focus on. It's a balance, the dance, as you can say. Friends are the nucleus, acquaintance are the electrons. Combine that, you spark the origin of the social life. So finally putting it all together, there are all types of people in the world. The good, the bad, and the ugly. One of the worst things to do is to take things personally. We predominantly take things personally when we perceive the act is not only being done to us. We stop talking it personally when we realize the act is not only being done to us. It's easy to not take things personally when you weigh a person's perception map ahead of their behavior. What is perception map? It the lens that they view reality from. The perception map was created from years of exceptions, memories, environment, and culture, and much more. Socially intelligent people factor in the perception map. The more that this map is factored in, the more the confidence irony is illuminated. This irony is when we undermine our own confidence to amplify someone else's confidence. The truth is that a lot of people are less confident than we initially assumed. They have their own problems, setbacks, and worries. By understanding that they may not be as confident as we thought, a level of empathy is unlocked. Empathy is a superpower because it eliminates fear. You can't be scared of someone that you are aiming to understand. This level of empathy makes it easier to connect with others, even people who you normally disagree with. As you connect with more people, it's a game of understanding labels. Social intelligence is not just about learning, it's also about unlearning. A thing to unlearn is the whole introverted and extroverted labels. Sure, this sounds great in the theory, but in application, it's a best to identify as an ambivalent, the best of the both worlds. The ambivalent has an authentic aura about them. They keep the same message with different people, they keep to. However, the delivery changes. All these peoples that you meet in the journey need to be classified friends or acquaintance. Friends is the nucleus, the core of your social circle. Less is more. The acquaintance adds to your power. More is more. Dealing with people becomes fun when there are targets we can follow. In this section, we learn the art of dealing with people, seeing ourselves in them. If you are going to get anything out of this section, let it be the empathy part. The better empathy gets, the tougher you become. Not the tougher that it is try hard. Rather, the one who has experience, perspective, and a sense of wonder in all forms of life. So we are finishing here this chapter as well. So that was part 7 of Speakeasy, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this section was honestly packed with lessons about people, emotions, confidence, empathy, and how we handle different personalities in real life. Some parts may be challenging the way you think, and that's actually a good thing. If you enjoy this audiobook series, make sure to support the channel by clicking the video, subscribing to the Zero Space Security, and sharing with someone who loves self-improvement and communication skills. So part 8 will be coming soon. So until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep speaking with confidence. I will see you in the next session. So thank you so much for the being part of this audiobook series.